Hi and good afternoon, it's Gene from maverickstar Observatory. I keep saying it guys on this channel, but I know some of you get it but a lot of you don't. There's a big difference what we do here at the Observatory compared to what a lot of other YouTube channels and platforms are doing out there. You know, in the morning, once a week, if I can manage it, I get up and I get the oxygen sensor out, the CO2 sensor out. You know, we check the volcanoes that are erupting around the world. We do a radiation background count with a Geiger counter, and we're actually using, as opposed to just going onto the websites, which the information, as you know, can easily be manipulated. And what we do here is we use the equipment, record it for you, so that you can see it as it is, what we recorded. You know, it comes down to, like in the title, what is the truth actually worth to you? It's very easy to manipulate data on websites and make them websites go very viral so that the majority of the people look at the data that's been put up there. But, you know, for all you know, when you go on these websites, that data is just been taken from a mainstream organisation which probably has, no doubts, other agendas. And it's in their interest to show people a different story in order for them to get, you know, away with what they do. And I'm talking about things like CO2, and then you've got the fear porn channels on YouTube that, you know, broadcast that there's a massive uptick in earthquakes and volcanoes around the world. Well, you know, you can simply go over to Polshift News, have a look at the live daily updated volcano chart, and you'll see that, if anything, over the last couple of months, volcanoes are actually dropping, and they've remained at 25 now for the last 2 weeks. So there isn't, you know, like these people would have you focus on major activities taking place with regards to some of these anomalies around the world. And that's why we do Earth Alpha at a glance, because I have done it before for you guys. I've took the chart readings off of the archive, and you can see that on the website, and graphed it for you, and you can see that a lot of these things aren't really changing much. CO2 naturally fluctuates here in the UK at our observatory. When we take the atmospheric CO2 outside, it fluctuates probably, let's just be generous, 50 parts per million, but it rarely, and I think only on one occasion has it ever gone over 500 parts per million. But, you know, it's to be expected, because, you know, the jet streams change the way, you know, carbon is flowing in the atmosphere. You know, you might have those jet streams blow over a more polluted area and therefore bring more CO2, and obviously if that goes over the sensor at the time we're taking the reading, the CO2 levels are going to be higher. But the point is here is we're trying to be truthful about what we're talking about and give people an honest approach to understanding some of the things that there's been talk about in the mainstream media, and give them an idea as to what really is the case. And, you know, when we got our own equipment and we take the readings, record them for you, you know, you can see firsthand, you know, what is actually taking place with our Earth. That's if you're interested, and, you know, you're not one of these people that say, okay, the sun's come up, it's bright and it's yellow, and it's taken completely for granted. You know, we live in a star system. You know, our star system is situated on the edge almost of the Milky Way galaxy, and there is nothing, you know, peaceful in this environment that we live. And to understand that, you only really need to look at the moon and have a look at all those impact craters and remind ourselves that the moon is much smaller than the Earth. And the Earth, if there wasn't any vegetation on it, would look even worse than the moon does. The only reason why we can't see the impact craters when we're looking from satellites so obvious is because the vegetation has eroded away the craters on the Earth, and therefore they're not so visible as they are on the moon. I guess the point is that I'm trying to make is it's very hard to get and obtain the truth with regards to some of these anomalies. The only way you can do it is by going to someone you can trust. And, you know, hopefully I've built up the trust over the last 10 years of really dedicating the website and the observatory to the positioning of the magnetic North Pole so that it can be tracked. And as you guys know, on the 17th of every month, 4 days away, we'll be putting the new location of the magnetic North Pole, revealing to you guys how fast it's moving and how much distance it's covering, and give you the GPS coordinates so that you can pinpoint that yourself. So Earth Alpha at a glance. Atmospheric CO2, as you can see, has gone up just a little bit from last week to 450 parts per million. Atmospheric oxygen is still at nearly 21%, as we would expect. It's a massive reservoir and it's always been replenished as much as it's been used. It remains pretty much constant. We'll be putting the new longitude and latitude of the magnetic North Pole coordinates in on around 4 days time. Your radiation background count is only gone up by 0.1%, so it's at 0016 at the moment. Volcanoes in eruption remain the same as what they do last week, 25. The largest earthquake there is, as you can see, 5.6. Muons per square metre from the UK is at 518 muons per square metre per hour. Muons in Canada, it was taken 5 days ago, but you can see it's at 802 metres per square metre per hour. The sunspots at the moment on the disk, there's 2 numbered regions, and the geomagnetic field is quiet and the solar X-rays are normal. Jet stream conditions are unstable. They have been, and I do say they will be for quite some time, until we really start to see some improvement with perhaps an increase in magnetosphere, and therefore blocking out cosmic rays. It might then allow the jet streams to return to some normality. We'll have a look at the jet streams before we end the video, but there you go. Where else can you get information that's been collected by equipment and recorded by a scientist? And obviously all this information goes up onto the website and gets archived. There are a lot of people out there that talk a lot, regurgitate just some of the things they find, and they're way more successful in drawing in some funds for themselves. What we're trying to do is just keep the observatory going, and it's a real shame when you see people that have not put any effort in at all. They don't have any equipment, they're not using a scientific method, they're just rambling about these things, and yet they're doing very well and very successful in terms of raising revenue. It comes down to, I suppose, trying to just get you guys to understand that equipment costs money, scientists' time costs money, and taking the time out to do these things, record it. There's a lot of work that goes on. It's not just going onto Word or putting some data in Excel. It's running of websites, keeping people regularly informed, and communicating with people all around the world that have our equipment. So there's a lot of work going on. It just would be amazing if we could get just a little bit more appreciation in terms of some funding for the observatory, because we are well going into the red now. And we're only at the mid part of the month, so there's links down there if you want to help support what we do. And hopefully I've encouraged you in this video to just step up a little bit and chip in a few funds. Over 1,000 people will watch this in the next 24 hours, and it is saddening to see just a couple of people each time come forward and make that effort. If we all made more of an effort, we'd probably only have to mention the links there once a month. But we don't live in a world where everybody sees eye to eye, do we? So just before we have a look at the jet streams, I thought I'd show you the temperatures over the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. We're over at Antarctic at the moment, but do note South Africa is showing temperatures just breaking below zero, and you wouldn't think that, would you, in a country like that? So going over to the northern hemisphere, you can see a stark difference in the depth of temperature. That's because the sun is still very much over on an angle towards the sun at the moment, at this point in time of year. That he's putting the southern hemisphere further away, so that it's in the winter. 6 months from now it'll be the opposite. We'll have the more severer temperatures over the northern hemisphere, and obviously the southern hemisphere will be in the summer at that point. Let's go over and have a look at the jet streams over the northern hemisphere. So fragmented jet streams, both polar and subtropical mixing, as you can see. And then going over to the southern hemisphere, you can see that they're more widely dispersed, seeing a lot more longer superjet streams over the southern hemisphere. And then back at an equatorial region, I'll just quickly turn it round for you guys so you can see what's going on in different parts of the world. And that's it, guys. 7-day analysis of the Earth's anomalies that's been taking place. If you haven't already, go over to the website, have a look at some of the stuff we've got there. You can have a look at weather charts, live solar radiation and other bits and bobs with relationship to all the anomalies that are taking place, and use the link that's there to help give us a bit of support for the observatory if you want to keep truth on the topic of these anomalies. And by all means come back in 4 days and we'll give you the latest location of the Earth's magnetic North Pole as well. Links are down there in the description. As always, guys, have an amazing day. Take care of your loved ones.